Hello, everyone. My name is Bailey, and I'm with the Marine Mammal Research Program at the Coastal Ocean Research Institute at the Vancouver Aquarium. Got to work on that. So I want to tell you a little bit today about how the BC Cetacean Sightings Network is working to increase land-based data collection by helping to expand the whale trail throughout BC. Now, some of you may be wondering what the whale trail is, and I'm actually here with Donna Sandstrom, the director and the founder of the whale trail. It's a land-based whale watching initiative, but I'm going to leave it to her to fill you in on that a little more in just a moment. So at the Sightings Network, we receive sightings from a great diversity of sighting platforms. But one thing that we noticed recently is that we were actually receiving a fair amount of sightings from land. So we saw in the last 5 years that we actually received 14% of our total sightings were from land, despite the fact that most of our outreach is targeted toward mariners. We also noticed, or we actually have 6% of our total database that is from land. So seeing this pattern, we reached out to the whale trail, and they were very keen to collaborate. So we created a steering committee, and a couple people who are actually here today helped us to create a list of sites where people were having beneficial land-based whale watching experiences. And also, we looked at Sightings Network data as well to see where people were already having these sightings from land. So once we had identified those locations, we moved towards creating panels like this. So this is one example of our panels. So you'll notice that it encourages people to report their sightings. It has response network information, and it also has species. It shows what animals you're most likely to see in that area. So when people are looking at this panel, we hope that it will help them make a positive identification, which can help our data collection when they're reporting their sightings to increase their confidence. So thanks to Mountain Equipment Co-op, we have 5 panels that are going up starting next week. At Thieves Bay on Pender Island, we also have the Wild Pacific Trail in Ucluelet, the Shaw Ocean Discovery Center in Sydney, Lighthouse Park in West Vancouver, and then in Telegraph Cove as well. And we also have 28 panels that are installed or being installed throughout the Southern Gulf Islands, and those ones are just a condensed version so people can take a look at that and report their sightings to us. So moving forward, the Sightings Network hopes to continue to help expand the whale trail throughout BC, but we also want to take a look at these areas where we've installed the panels and see if we're actually getting greater amounts of sightings reports here. And if so, we would like to use this as a measure of observer effort, perhaps, for some of our effort-corrected work. So that's a very quick summary of what we have going on in BC. I'm going to pass you off to Donna.
You realize you're getting 2 for 1, and I have to talk twice as fast. I have sheer terror of the chicken. Okay. So I'm going to use my time to tell you a little bit today about the prologue, the whale trail story. And the whale trail story actually begins in 2002 with the whale called Springer. How many of you have heard of Springer? Oh, I'm so happy. That doesn't happen everywhere. So Springer is an orphaned orca who showed up near Seattle, where I live, in 2002. And it was, through her calls, it was determined that she was a member of the Northern Resident Community, the A4s. She was 300 miles away from home. There was virtually no way her family would find her or that she would find her way back to them. I'm going to tell a wonderful story. I'm going to make it very short. We, the community, persuaded NOAA Fisheries that if she was healthy enough, she should have a chance to go home. And the scientific community agreed that she was a good candidate for reintroduction. Those 2 things combined to lead to the first ever successful orca reintroduction in history. Springer was transferred home on a donated catamaran to the north end of Vancouver Island, and her pod came to pick her up less than 24 hours after she was returned. It was a complete conservation success. This is Springer getting welcomed home, waiting for her family. And thank you, Graham, for the great photo. As I'm sure you're all aware, this is Springer. Springer had her first calf 2 years ago. The calf survived its first year, and its name is Spirit. And that's totally appropriate because it was the spirit of that project and the collaboration that drove it. We had to get Springer home, we had to work together, reach across every possible boundary, and put the whale's best interest first. And in that spirit, we founded the Whale Trail. In 2005, the southern resident killer whales were listed as endangered by NOAA Fisheries. The threats are all human-caused: lack of prey, toxin accumulations, and stress and noise from vessels. I was stunned when I read in a Fish and Wildlife report, this population could go extinct in as few as 100 years. That is a minute in time, and we are living in that minute. So I believe it's up to us. The future of these whales who have been here for tens of thousands of years, they're in the palms of our hands. So we founded the Whale Trail with many of the same team members who had seen Springer safely home, including NOAA Fisheries, People for Puget Sound, the Whale Museum. We added the Department of Fish and Wildlife. Again, you'll see that it's a collaborative effort. We found a simple but powerful piece of common ground, which is we wanted to promote shore-based whale watching. We wanted to build awareness of the southern resident orcas throughout their range. And we wanted to encourage stewardship. All conservation begins with awareness. We wanted to let people know who these whales were, where they lived, that they were endangered, and that we all had a piece in their recovery. We started with 16 inaugural sites in Washington State. To be on the Whale Trail, each site has a page on our website, and many of our sites have signs. Our first signs and markers went up on the Strait of Juan de Fuca in 2010, and you can see there that's a sample of our interpretive panel and then our marker on the right. In 2011, we had a partnership with Washington State Ferries. We had 2 signs put on every Washington State ferry, 1 at every terminal, and our reach went to over 22 million people each year. The exciting thing about this is that we're reaching a diverse and broad general public. Environmental organizations always have the issue of not just preaching to the choir. How do you reach people who won't seek out this information? With the Whale Trail, we've hit a really sweet spot. These are people just out for a stroll, or they're riding a ferry, and they read this, and it's incredible to watch them to read a sign, walk over to the edge of the ferry railing, and look over, and you know something has happened. You know, a light has been turned on about the water that they're passing over. In 2013 was the next big milestone. We had our first sign on the Pacific Coast at Kalaloch Lodge. That, again, was a collaboration with Olympic National Park and the Olympic Coast National Marine Sanctuaries. And then in 2014, we achieved one of our major goals of extending the Whale Trail throughout the southern resident orca range with our first sites and signs in California, Point Reyes, Point Lobos, and the Santa Cruz Lighthouse. That was part of a tour we did with Eric Hoyt called Orca Tour 2001-4. We also went beyond the southern resident orca range. We have a sign in Cambria and San Simeon, California, so we officially extended outside of southern resident territory. This is an example of the sign at the Santa Cruz Lighthouse. And this is what the panel looks like. So you'll see there's a theme. We actually work really closely with our local site partners to customize this according to the messages they want and the look and feel of the signs. We're actually more concerned about the overall message than the specific graphics of it. And in 2015, as Bailey mentioned, we are so excited to start working with the planning team in BC and also at the same time one in Oregon. So this is the Pender team showing you where that Thieves Bay sign is going to go. And then this is an example of the Whale Trail marker in place. It's a little too small to see, but you can see it encourages people lets them know they're at a Whale Trail location and encourage them to contact the BC Cetacean Sighting Network if they have a sighting. So our goals this year are to fully extend the Whale Trail from BC to California, following the seeds that have been planted. And now we're getting really ambitious. Since we're going from California to British Columbia, why not go from Baja to Alaska and connect the entire West Coast in this deeply local but widely shared experience of marine mammal appreciation from shore? And we've gone from the southern resident territory into the gray whale migration route. So I encourage you to join us. It's an emerging project. We're evolving as we go along, and it's tremendously exciting to be part, and I couldn't be prouder than to be part of the Whale Trail BC. Thank you. Oh. Questions? No questions?
Any questions? Touch.